In the spirit of reconciliation, Yellow Ladybugs acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today.
Transitioning into an early learning setting and/or school for autistic girls. In this video, we are going to be looking at neuroaffirming approaches that can be undertaken when supporting autistic girls into their transitions into an early childhood education setting, kinder or preschool, or their transitions into primary schooling.
We have learned in previous videos that many autistic girls thrive off routines, structure, and predictability. It is therefore understandable that big transitions like starting in an early learning environment or primary school can be filled with many emotions, including excitement, apprehension, and anxiety. Parents of autistic girls within the Yellow Ladybugs community have identified these big transitions as one of the biggest barriers to a successful education experience within the early years. Getting the transitions right in the early years can have a positive or negative impact on an autistic girl for years to come. It is therefore important that early learning environments are supported to offer additional supports to any student who may need it during their transition periods.
Neuroaffirming support strategies that can assist autistic girls in their transitions into or out of their early learning environment. There are a number of neuroaffirming support strategies that can support autistic girls with these transitions. Before transition begins, supply social stories. Social stories are an illustrative means to share information about an event. Many autistic students find comfort in social stories as it gives them some idea of what to expect. Schools can make social stories to hand out to new students that they can use to help them familiarize with their new environment before they attend. Ideas that can be included in a social story could include names and pictures of teachers, pictures of the classroom and play areas, a sample of the daily schedule, and anything else the school thinks is important. By showing autistic girls some of what to expect, anxieties around the transitions can be eased. Social stories work best when they are factual and reassuring. For example, acknowledging it is okay to feel a little bit scared about going to school. Make a transition plan. A transition plan is strategies that parents and early learning centres put together to help autistic girls make the transition into their new learning environment easier. This can include a profile of the child, highlighting their interests and strengths, current medical and therapy needs, and anything the autistic girl may find challenging or may need support with. It can include specific information on the child's sensory needs and on the best ways to support them when they are overwhelmed. It can also be useful to highlight what doesn't work, as what works for one autistic girl may not work for another. It can also include plans for an extended or modified orientation program.
When transition begins, many autistic girls will benefit from a slow transition into their early learning environment. Neuroaffirming approaches to transitions can include additional visits to the school or early learning setting. Many autistic girls will prefer visiting their new learning environment multiple times. This will allow them to take in their environment slowly, become familiar with the setting, and practice some of their new routines, which can help ease anxieties in the future. The more an autistic girl can visit their future learning center or their school, the easier this transition may become. Encourage parents to include the school or early learning center into their daily routine before or during the transition phase. Walking or driving past the school and looking in on some of the activities happening can help familiarize autistic girls to their new learning environment. Have flexible attendance. Some girls may need to arrive later or leave earlier or have reduced hours and days during their transition period. Allow for parents to remain present for as long as needed. Allow for flexible learning. Some children may need an adapted curriculum during their transition period. Allow autistic girls to meet their teacher one-on-one with a support person in attendance. Some schools only do their transition days as a group. This can be overwhelming for autistic children. Allowing students the opportunity to meet their teacher in a quiet, calm environment, free of other children, can help aid in the transition process. Allowing autistic girls to develop a sense of connection and relational safety with their teachers will be key to their feeling safe and supported. Autistic girls in particular often have more subtle expressions of stress, and their need for support may not be as obvious. A teaching assistant can be an extra set of eyes looking out for and assisting an autistic girl should she need additional support. Have a quiet space or sensory area where children can go if they get overwhelmed. This needs to be easily accessible during the transition period and beyond. Early learning environments and classroom settings can be incredibly overwhelming to autistic girls. They may need to have some time away from others to help self-regulate. Work alongside the school on any needed requirements, for example, dietary or sensory sensitivities that may need accommodations, uniform accommodations, or emotional and regulatory needs that can help autistic girls while they settle. Developing a buddy system can help autistic girls to feel more supported.
Changes in routines and transitions can be seen as a challenge when children start the process of moving from kindergarten to primary school. The change in environment, peers, teachers, and expectations can become overwhelming for any child, let alone an autistic or neurodivergent child that has grown a sense of belonging and established relationships that have supported their well-being within their early years. The best way to support children within this transition is by using vital tools of learning and communication in ways the individual child will respond to, such as books about school, visuals of the school that they will be attending, teachers, classrooms, playgrounds, embedding similar routines to a school timetable, building their own lunchbox, especially children with food sensory sensitivity, and most importantly, engaging and building on relationships with the school and the teachers. Invite their new teacher to meet the child within the kindergarten setting. Organise longer orientation periods to give the child more time to adjust and become familiar with a new learning environment. And collaboratively work together to ensure the teachers and the families have the same goals and understanding on how to best support the child. Use and engage in reflective questions with the support systems, such as what does the child need in moments of frustration or overwhelm? What strength-based approaches can be adapted in the classroom? Have you considered the child's voice within this transition? Do they need a buddy system? All these reflective questions will help find solutions to make the transition smooth and realistic for the child, so they know exactly what to expect and reduce any uncertainty and anxiety during these big changes. And it will help teachers and families better understand what their role is in supporting their child.
For some autistic girls, transitions into a new learning centre or from an early learning environment into school can take time. The most important thing to remember is to validate what the child is feeling and work together with the parents to have an ongoing plan. Keeping in regular contact with parents is essential, as this can help address any issues before they become bigger problems.
We hope you've enjoyed these videos on how to support autistic girls within their early learning environments. Thanks for watching.